As a physical therapist, helping people deal with pain and horrific disability had been my job. But living with pelvic pain gave me a whole new perspective. Now, when I see old or infirm dealing with their limitations, I no longer feel separate from them at all. I can picture myself carrying a similar burden, and I don't feel separate. I feel a stronger bond of shared humanity. During my pelvic pain, I started to appreciate that before my illness, my circle of compassion never included people with depression or pelvic pain. Right before my pain began, I was standing in the locker room at the gym, and a woman came up to me and told me about her battle with depression. I took a step backwards and made a mental note to avoid conversation with her in the future. Then, when I was a physical therapist, I was on a plane in the 1980s, and I was a new therapist at the time. And a woman found that out and talked to me about fibromyalgia. And I remember trying to look interested, but inside I thought, oh, she has a psychological condition, and that's created her pain. And I really shut her off. When other therapists would talk about treating patients with chronic pain, I would think, and sometimes even say, I have no idea how you could do that. And when people worked with people with pelvic pain, I had no idea how they could do that either, because those patients and their problems seemed separate and a little beneath me. So after the pain, I thought it was curious and probably not a coincidence that my illness firmly planted me within the group I shunned. And I wondered if the reason why I wasn't able to accept these people was because I wasn't able to accept this stuff within myself. In some ways, these people were like a mirror reflecting back to me what I didn't want to look at within myself. So 4 years in the pain, I think there's a theme with this talk because I am always in a whirlpool in this talk. But 4 years into my pain, I'm sitting in another whirlpool next to this 20-year-old guy, and he has this tattoo on his arm that looks like death itself. And I said, I feel just like your tattoo today. And he said, I feel like it every day. And then he looked at me really cautiously, and I saw these big brown eyes just brimming with pain. And we talked for 45 minutes about our experiences with physical and emotional pain. And as I got my 52-year-old body out of that, jacuzzi, I looked down at this 20-year-old and said, oh, I hope that wasn't too much information. And he told me that I'd given him a lot to think about, and he thanked me. And I said, it's really weird because the last 4 times I've been in this jacuzzi, I've met someone who shares at this deep level. And he said, that's no coincidence. You opened up and you asked about my pain. He said, we all have pain, but nobody ever talks about it. And he said, I realized that he was right. Before I developed the pelvic pain, I thought I was the only one who was hurting because a lot of people suffer in silence. And you know what? A lot of people don't even know what they're carrying. So now I realize that I'm not alone, and suffering, just like joy, is an integral part of the human condition. I shared my experience with pain recently when I was in a continuing education course for holistic body work. And afterwards, another physical therapist came up to me and he said, oh, I feel so sorry for you. You have had real pain, not like all these other people who are crying about the stupidest stuff. And so this comment made me think. The analytical mind is a master at putting things in a hierarchy and judging the relative importance of things. And this is like crucial for our survival. But this same analytical mind can be used to discount the pain of other people and also the pain of ourselves. In the past, I would compare my level of suffering to other people. And when mine was less intense, I would think it wasn't really valid. But really, pain is pain. And for the person who is suffering, it is always real. So by switching from hierarchy to equality and from judgment to compassion, we help ourselves and each other feel safe enough to really feel our pain, to express our pain. And that's healing.